The she-beast, deadlier than Dracula, wilder than the werewolf, more frightening than Frankenstein. Another victim of a strange revenge, wreaked on the innocent from beyond the grave, hurling a town into a terrifying struggle against the powers of darkness. The witch Verdella, known to be dead for centuries, comes to blood-chilling life before disbelieving eyes, unleashing all manner of monstrous evil in the town in which she was supposed to have breathed her last. You'll see a creature of the damned, damning the living to destruction when you see The She-Beast. Starring Barbara Steele, Mel Wells, and co-starring John Karlsen. You'll see a monster in human form, The She-Beast.
And talking about The She-Beast with Barbara Steele, Ian Ogilvy. You know, it's funny. The version I watched on YouTube said Revenge of the Blood Beast. Is that the one you watched?
The one I watched too, because that was the longer one. Sometimes, like there was one, The She-Beast, but it was edited to fit a television screen.
4:3.
So, yeah, it was the 4:3 rather than the whatever the other one is.
16:9, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
so I went and searched around to see if I could find I found one that was longer, and it was the full cinescope. What's that ratio?
16:9.
Yeah, 16:9.
I think it's 16:9. I mean, I remember 4:3 is 16:9.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So, and I was going through some boxes looking for stuff to get rid of, and I found a DVD of the She Beast, the alpha video of it. So, man, you're not gonna believe it. A tangent. I've been going through boxes, and I've been going through boxes. First of all, I have a lot of videotapes I recorded off TV. And then on the other hand, I recorded a lot of that stuff onto DVD with my DVD burner. There is so much stuff on those movies and stuff like that. I was like, wow, I forgot I had all this stuff. You know, it's like endless. I mean, I know we go through YouTube, but there's so much stuff that I have, like here and there and all that. It's insane. You know, I mean, I always excuse myself by saying it's 50 years, 40 years of recording and collecting and stuff like that, but it is nuts, man.
Well, you know, if somebody did that in the past, we may still have like the original London After Midnight and
Yeah.
some of those other things too. So
I gave my friend a VHS I had, 2 movies. I said, hey, you know, this VHS brings back memories because it was a movie called King of Kong Island, not real good, and Las Vegas Lady. It's okay. But I remember recording them when I was young, you know.
Yeah.
So I gave it to him. He calls me up at night. Oh my God, this video is a time warp. All these old commercials from 1986 and 87. It's like, and I'm like, that's why I'm hesitant to throw all this stuff away just in case.
Yeah.
But I did record a lot of it, and I am putting some of the recordings on Rumble because YouTube won't take them. So some of the recordings are on Rumble of some of the TV stuff, but it's all these commercials. And I am one of the few guys. I mean, I'm sure there's others, no doubt. But of the people that I know, I'm the only one that kept it with commercials. So, and the commercials is the time warp.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know that you remember them sometimes more than the movie because they're meant to be really catchy and you know and short and you know just to get your attention right away.
And it takes you back to like watching TV when you were a young guy, late at night. And if it's a lawyer or it's the party line or you know whatever it is, you know, and you're like, wow, I haven't seen that since 1980 whatever. So yeah, it is a time warp factor.
I
But
can still remember this ad when I would be up late and you'd have the TV low and it was this really badly drawn cartoon with like paper cutouts animated by moving them. I know what the commercial was because when they recorded it, the sound was so low, I would really have to like jump up and try and turn the TV up loud so I could hear. Even at its almost loudest setting, you couldn't really hear it. And I have no idea. All you heard was like, and I have no idea what the commercial was about, but I still remember that commercial.
I found one here, and I'm gonna dub it today. And it's probably the only. I used to record off WOR at Fright Night, but back then it would like the tapes were expensive, so I would ditch them. I would re-record them. But I found a tape that says WOR, and I don't know if it's Fright Night or not, but it was Deep Red, the Argento movie, and I'm hoping it was from Fright Night, because if I have that with all the old Crazy Eddie commercials and all that stuff, that's like golden, you know.
Yeah.
I have Phil Rizzuto for the money store. You remember that?
It's funny. There were like, I think when First Tube was out, one of the things I did was I went looking for old commercials, and they had old toy commercials and car commercials, and like about an hour's worth, and I would just sit there and watch them. I mean, it's funny thinking now, watching
that you
ads.
fast forward through commercials.
Yeah, because you fast forward, but not, I mean, like you said, it's such a time capsule, and if you see that, you can remember often where you were, what you were doing, what was going on in your life.
I'm telling you, it brings back a
Really
lot of
cool.
memories of how places that you lived, your parents,
Yeah, yeah,
where you were working,
yeah,
people you knew, et cetera, et cetera. It's really amazing, like what
yeah.
these things to do, more so than just watching a movie with no reference to what time and place it was being done. It gives it the nostalgia, and it gives it the time warp effect or whatever. Even if the commercials are all the same ones.
Mhm.
Like I remember on some tapes I have, like every commercial break was, hey, it's this party line, hey, and a bunch of
Oh,
bikini girls are running around,
or the psychic hotline.
the psychic hotline, yeah, there was a psychic hotline, and what was the other one? But now you watch these commercials, and there's no way they're all Medicare and all this
Yeah.
other crap, and
And
they're
a lot of times they repeat them over and
over and
over.
over again.
Every commercial break is the same commercial. It's like, what the heck is this? Oof.
I mean, I rarely see a commercial. Not that I watch regular TV, I watch YouTube, but even so, in the breaks, I hardly ever watch a commercial for a soda or
Mm.
or a hot dog or
Yeah,
or or ketchup. It's all just like medical things
yeah,
or whatever, or and there's other aspects of commercials too, which I won't talk about, but it seems like something's going on wrong with the demographics of these commercials, but that's a whole nother topic for another time. But it's just like, huh?
yeah.
I mean, I remember, oh, look, it's Madge with Palmolive and this and that and the other
Oh,
thing. And
yeah.
you're like, yeah, they were actually selling products. Now they're selling like medical care, and I don't know. Anyway, off on a tangent, but with commercials back then, yeah, they dragged the movies on
Yeah.
and on. But again, I'll
At the
just
same
say it one
time,
last
it
time:
gave you a break where you could like go to the
to
kitchen
the
and
bathroom, get
something to
something to
eat or go
eat,
to the bathroom. So
get
that was
something to eat, switch the
kind of,
channel.
you know.
Yeah,
So
I did see Sea Beast on television. I remember watching it. I probably have it recorded somewhere. I don't know. It was either late night or sometimes they would play them in the daytime. But I do remember
yeah,
watching this back in the 80s, something like that. So I have seen this movie before. I mean, I probably didn't watch the whole thing. And as we'll talk about this movie, we'll find out that it's really, I actually scanned through it again today. I
yeah,
didn't watch it. I scanned through it again today. And really, this movie is a comedy. It's not, it has
it's
horror elements, but it's really a comedy because a lot of the people in the village all act like buffoons.
yeah,
Even Van Helsing kind of acts like a doofus. You
yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
movie. He's kind of serious sometimes. Other times he's a little, like you said, a little goofy.
You
And
know?
maybe the European sense of humor is a little different
Uh,
because it's
well, it was a
rare.
British guy who directed it and wrote it,
Yeah,
so
still though, sometimes it's rare when that stuff gets translated over here and what they find funny, and we're like, what?
yeah,
You know,
it really is a comedy. Everybody besides Ian Ogilvy is a comedian, and maybe Barbara Steele for the hour for the 20 minutes she's in the movie is basically like a goofball.
yeah.
He's the only one that's taking it seriously in the movie.
Maybe they didn't tell him it was a comedy.
Yeah, maybe they forgot to tell him it's a comedy. mean, the witch is creepy, and then there's a little bit of gore, and there's a little bit of well, the very beginning where the kid, the very beginning when it's when the the kid goes into the funeral and he says the witch, that's basically okay. Basically, the movie starts off with an old guy driving into his dungeon
This bright yellow
with his bright yellow Ford
1940s
Model T or whatever the heck
that
it
you
is.
have to crank up. You don't start with a key. You crank it up with the
But
hand in the front.
but it's a European car because the driver's side is on the right
It's
instead of
on
the
the
left.
right. Yeah.
And he had his castle taken away by because it's the movie's it's also making fun of communism and all the crap that
Yeah.
is.
Perhaps you go to the stupidity of it. And
Yeah, so he's reading a book about the witch and about the exorcism of the witch and what they did. They put her on a catapult and I guess that's how you get rid of witches, huh? You put them on a swing and they go up and down in the water like 5 times and they disappear.
yeah, I'm
I
not
don't
sure that. I think what killed her wasn't the water, but them
a
hammering
spike.
a giant spike into her chest. That
Yeah, that
probably
would
did more
hurt.
damage than the water. I'm not sure what the water was about.
Well, at the end of the movie, just to give it away, if you don't want to, at the end of the movie, they didn't drive her through a spike, did they?
No, and then I think, if I remember, I think Van Helsing said something like that, and Ian Ogilvy stopped him because he didn't. He thought that if he did,
Might
he might
kill
kill Barbara Steele,
or
and
Veronica.
that's
Yeah.
probably why they hinted at it not working, and that the witch still kind of possessed her or something like.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. 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 So the guy's Van Helsing. The guys of the old man's of Van Helsing. And he's like, he's second billed in this movie.
I was surprised over Ian Ogilvy. Well, I
Over
guess
Ian Ogilvy. Yeah.
at the time Ian Ogilvy wasn't a big star, which is probably how he ended up in this movie.
Yeah, but he got famous pretty quickly,
Yeah,
doing. I think he was in a couple of other Michael Reeves movies. He was also in The Professionals and
yeah. As the
a
he
lot
was
of
in the
British TV probably.
yeah. I think he played the Saint in something.
He
I'm not
did
sure.
play the Saint. Yeah, not The Professionals, the Saint. Yeah, because he kind of looks like Roger Moore in a way. He has
Yeah,
that like in the
yeah.
80s or 80s or 70s. He played the Saint or something like that. So
Yeah, I think there was uh, a
a
revival
revival.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, there's no doubt about that. But this was after these movies, though. This was after his horror movies and whatever else he did. He did the Saint after he had a name recognition. Because you're right, this might be his first movie, and this movie probably didn't do much to make him a famous guy. Not even, or The Sorcerers for that matter. Maybe The Conqueror Worm, because that movie was a little bigger budget or whatever. So anyway, the beginning of it is the doctor is talking about this witch and there's also a hint that she's going to come back
right. Age-old thing. They burn a witch or they kill her, and before she dies, she curses the village
and
and
she's
the
going to get rid of
town.
she's going to kill the ancestors and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
exactly. So there was something similar with Vincent Price and who was the actress? Where he goes back to New England and the town is cursed because people are all misformed. And I think it was based on
Oh, that was it with Vincent Price? Was that the Haunted Palace?
yeah, something like I think that was it. The Haunted Palace. And I forget who the woman was in there.
Yeah, that was that. Lon Chaney was in that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was the one where it was based on Lovecraft. It was based on one of
Yeah,
the
Deborah Paget. That's what I thought. Okay.
Deborah Paget. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he
right.
goes to Arkham, Massachusetts, and his ancestor was a witch or warlock or whatever. But the townspeople were cursed. But that because it didn't look like anything happened
They
to
had
these.
some of them looked deformed, like they had
Yeah,
weird.
missing an eye or hunchbacks or whatever. So, but so
Yeah,
it kind of, but that's like an old movie
trope.
trope
Yeah, trope. Yeah,
where
exactly. Yeah,
they kill the witch, she
curses
curses,
everybody.
and
Black
then at some point,
Sunday. All that
some
stuff.
some anniversary in the future, 100 years, 200 years. A woman comes in who usually it's a woman who arrives in the town new, and she looks like the witch, and then the witch possesses her. And
Black Sunday.
Yeah, this was a little different.
Yeah, this was. I'm telling you, this was a comedy or whatever.
Yeah,
So
it has to be.
So anyway, so they go into the story of the witch and how some little boy shows up at the funeral. And he says, "My brother, she attacked my brother," and they go to the witch's cave and they do the whole deal on her. And then the doctor, the Van Helsing's is just reading this at the beginning, like laying in his bed.
This is a flashback here. You're seeing the story he's reading. They're showing it to you.
Yeah. And then we cut to the beginning of the movie. Well, the real beginning of the movie is Steele and Ogilvy are coming to, they're on their honeymoon, and why they want to go to a communist country for their honeymoon, I don't know why.
Communist Transylvania, and from there they're going on to, I guess, communist Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, right.
Why? Maybe the Democrats.
Serious. Because they're going into the most depressed countries you could ever, find. Like, the little shacks and no running water. But they have booze, though. I mean, I guess they kept them in their, in their vodka or whatever. I don't know, but you can tell this movie's the comedy because you always see the picture of the commandant on the wall, and then
So they're lost and they're looking at a map, and so they stop a cop who's a buffoon, and there's some
another buffoon. The cop's another buffoon. Yeah.
There's some humorous dialogue where they ask the cop, "Do you speak English?" And he says, "No, I speak English."
That's right.
He tells him about the town to go to and what hotel, and then he rides off, almost bumps into a guy on a Vespa who appears throughout the movie. Anytime there's any kind of cars going around or some kind of chase, you see the Vespa shooting ahead of everybody or just missing things and whatever.
I guess that's one of the running jokes of this movie or whatever.
They go to the hotel, and the creepy hotel owner named Groper, who's all sort of disheveled, and he's drinks, and whatnot. So they book a room and they're out having tea, and Van Helsing first you see him on a swing like a little kid, and then he comes and he sits down and introduces himself. He tells them he's a descendant of that Van Helsing who got rid of all the vampires in Transylvania, and he's currently in the town because there's a witch that's supposed to come back, and to exact revenge on the townspeople for killing her. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, And then
that's great. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. The guy wants to meet him again tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow and give you more and show you. It's like, oh, okay. But they plan to leave early tomorrow, so they
He goes, I'll be there tomorrow at 10. She goes, that's fine. She goes, he'll make it 12. And then when they get back into it, the guy goes, why'd you tell him that we're going to be gone in the morning, early morning? She's like, yeah, well, I just don't want him to feel things.
So then they go to their room, and it's like a crappy room. But the concrete walls are chipped and falling apart. There's no paint, furniture's old and stuff. So there, complains, says, well, we're only here one night, and then they start kind of, they're on their honeymoon, so they're getting romantic, and they're in bed, and he's got his shirt off, and she's, I guess, totally naked. And then they notice that the hotel owner, Groper's, like peeking through the window.
Yeah, that's actor Mel Wells from A Little Shop of Horrors, and he ended up living in Europe and dubbing a lot of movies too. He also directed Lady Frankenstein, believe it or not. So.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So they're Ian Ogilvy jumps up and punches him through the window, and then goes outside and beats the crap out of him. But then he comes back. He's like, oh, let's get out of here. And Barbara Steele goes, no, let's wait and do it tomorrow, like we said. It's kind of dark, and I don't feel like driving on the roads in the dark, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then Groper steals their distributor cap, which delays their leave. They get out the next day. He's Ogilvy's under the car trying to find out what's wrong, and he looks at the engine and sees the distributor cap's gone. So then he runs in to Groper's bedroom, and he's passed out drunk. So he's searching, he's messing up his place, searching for the distributor cap. And then finally he sort of rolls Groper off the bed and sees the distributor. He was lying on the distributor cap. So he gets in, puts it on, and then they leave. And then shortly, like not even a minute, Van Helsing drives in and says, "Oh, where are the people?" I said, "Oh, they left, So they're driving, and suddenly the steering wheel goes wonky, and they're passing the Witch Lake, and which I think that's one of the alternate titles of the movie.
Is it really? Okay.
The Lake of Satan. So they're driving, and there's a truck driver coming the other way, and they're all over the road, and he's on his side, and he's beeping his horn. And they, finally they get to where the fence is for the lake. And they go through the fence, off the cliff, and into the lake. And the truck driver stops, and then he goes running down, and Ian Ogilvy, crawls out of the water. And he's like, "My wife is in the car." So the truck driver goes in, and he, you don't see him, but he obviously pulls.
He goes in to save him.
Yeah. To save the wife.
I think Ogilvy's gets out of it on his own though. I think he goes in to steal.
Yeah. So then you see the truck driver. He's driven to the hotel, and in the back is Ian Ogilvy and the wife body of what we assume is Barbara Steele's body, but it's all wrapped up in burlap and stuff. So Groper carries in Ogilvy and puts him on a table. They grab the Veronica's body, or Barbara Steele's body, put her on the table, and they start talking. And the truck driver's saying, "Oh, this woman's real ugly." And Groper's like, "What do you mean ugly? She's a beautiful woman." So they throw the burlap back, and it's the witch from the earlier flashback. And it, like you said, it looks like a Don Post.
Yeah, it looks like a Don Post hunchback mask, torn up.
Yeah, really messed up. And the witch is it's like purples and greens and veins and some weird eye, and her teeth are all snaggled. Like one tooth is really long.
Yeah, they went out of their way to make him hideous. Her hideous.
Yeah. So, and it's really comical looking more than scary. So then they Philip wakes, and the truck driver says, "Well, let me get out of here before you call the cops, because they're going to blame me and put me in jail." So he splits, and then Groper's sitting there drinking and whatever. So then Ogilvy wakes up and he goes, "Where's my wife?" And Groper points to the old hag and says, "That's not my wife. Where is she? We have to get back to the lake to find her." And then Van Helsing arrives, and he recognizes the witch for who she is. And then obviously she possessed. We're not sure what happened, but it turns out she possessed the body of Veronica, or she swapped some.
Oh, that's his idea. That's what he thinks, anyway.
Yeah, they don't really explain that. So Philip wants to go to the Ogilvy wants to go to the police, and Van Helsing says, "Well, come with me," and he thinks Van Helsing's taking him to the police, and they're actually going to Van Helsing's cave, because that's where he lives now. And he starts reading to him about the witch, and
he's just going on and on about it.
He's lost. He's lost in thought, whatever. And Ogilvy's like, "Come on, we got to get to the police." And meanwhile, the Van Helsing's reading. So he tries to get in to find the keys to the car, and so he starts running towards town. And then when Van Helsing finishes reading his book, he looks up and he can't find Ogilvy. So then he gets in his car and he's driving towards town to
look for Ogilvy or whatever.
To look for Ogilvy. And Ogilvy hides from him, and you see him drive by. So then, in the meantime, Van Helsing gets to the hotel, and he sees the witch there, and he does some magical thing with a stick, and he's pokes
her eye
with maggots in it and whatever. And then she wakes up and attacks him and strangles him. And you think she killed him. You're not sure. Then she runs away. And in the meantime, then you see Groper. He's eating something and his mouth open and he's all disgusting and covered in food, drinking booze. And then,
a young woman shows up and she's
yeah,
like, I
and
heard this noise and I was really scared. And,
she calls him Uncle Groper. But I don't
yeah,
know
something like that. I don't know if there are any relations, but
yeah, because usually a lot of times in some European countries, if you have someone like an older gentleman,
they're your uncle, yeah.
yeah, you would refer to them like that. So he attacks her and tries to rape her, and she like breaks away from him and runs away. And he runs outside
With his
watching her,
bottle, with his
yeah, with
bottle
his
in his
father
hand.
watching her run away. And then in the meantime, Ogilvy comes up and he goes, "I need your phone," and which startles Groper. He turns around and hits him in the head. And he goes, "Oh my God, I killed this guy." So he's not sure what to do.
Yeah, right. So he does a logical thing.
Yeah. So yeah, he does the logical thing. He drags him into the middle of the road so that he can be run over, and then he goes hides in his hotel. So then that's the truck driver who originally um,
Save them.
saved them. He manages to swerve and avoid, running over the body, but he just keeps on going. Then Von Helsing wakes up in the kitchen. He's wandering around. He goes outside and he sees Ogilvy lying in the road. So he runs over and pulls him to safety. And he's like, Ogilvy's like, "Oh, where are we?" He says, "Oh, well, we're at the hotel." It's like, "Oh, yeah, wait. I asked Groper to use his phone and he hit me with a bottle. So then while that's happening, Groper is hiding in the hotel and he's looking around and you're hearing like little noises. And suddenly from nowhere, the witch comes and starts attacking him with a sickle and, starts stabbing him and killing him and stuff. And then here's the funny part. She throws the sickle
Yeah,
to the
right.
ground that lands on near a hammer, and that makes the
The
communist hammer.
communist, yeah, more Marxist fun humor.
Yeah. So then, um, uh,
And then I think it cuts to the truck driver driving, and he
does it?
sees like a dead body on the side of the road or something like that.
Well, no, that's not the truck driver. That's Van Helsing and Ogilvy
Oh,
say,
that's right. That's Van
now
Helsing
we
and
have
all.
to go to police. So they're driving, and then
Yeah,
Ogilvy sees the dead body and goes, "Tell me again about that myth of the witch and stuff."
yeah, right,
So they
right,
get to
right.
town, and originally they were going to go to the cops, but they decided to search for her because they see a couple of other dead bodies, and well, she's obviously in town. So then
Then it's like that scene with the cockfighting and the kid coming out of the window of the bedroom of his apartment.
I think before that, there's a scene with the cops, and they're finding all the dead bodies.
Okay, all right.
And
I don't,
no, I think you're right. The kid sneaks out.
yeah, there's that cockfighting scene where like they're doing these guys are walking into the building and they're getting ready to do their sport, and the kid
Yeah,
comes out of a building and he gets on whatchamacallit, a crate to look at it because I guess that's like must see TV in
yeah,
Czechoslovakia back in Transylvania.
that is the circus.
Yeah.
So
And Van
he's
Helsing and Ogilvy are looking for the witch in town or whatever.
right. So the witch, you see, as the kid's watching a cockfight, you see like a close up of the witch coming, and then the kid hears a noise. He turns around. The witch screams. He screams, and then she's attacking the kid. And Van Helsing and Ogilvy hear the screams. They run. They capture the witch, and Van
He
Helsing
gives her a tranquilizer,
get
like
tranquilized.
three, like a horse tranquilizer or something.
Yeah, and he says we got to get her back. We got to store her somewhere so that we can do the exorcism so that
Right.
we can turn her back into Veronica. So in the meantime, the cops find the dead bodies, and the truck driver's in jail. He's getting 5 years for
For
driving over
running over a chicken or
chicken.
something.
And these are they're buffoons, and the head
It's like
constable.
Hogan's Heroes, really.
Yeah, exactly. With the all the Nazis were buffoons and easily
Lots of
fooled.
commies are buffoons, yeah.
So yeah, they're saying, "Are you responsible for all these dead bodies?" He says, "No, it's the witch. I can show you. I pulled her out of the river." And so he takes them to the
to
hotel.
to the hotel, yeah, where she's
Yeah,
lying in there.
like
And he
Ogilvy,
goes, she was on that
that
slate
table.
over there.
Yeah, Ogilvy and Van Helsing stored her in a like a long coffin-shaped chest that had ice and vegetables in it
Yeah,
to
right.
keep her there while she's unconscious. So then the police come, they're searching around, they find the body, and they said, "Well, obviously this is a dead body, so we're going to take her back and have her autopsy." So they drive away just as Van Helsing, and because they had to go back to his cave to get tools of exorcism.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
they arrive and they see the cops drive off. So we have to get there and stop them, because what they're going to do is autopsy her.
Yeah, well,
And
they go into I think they go into the inn and find that there's no
yeah,
more witch.
right, yeah. They find out, oh, the cops must have taken her.
So they follow the cops. They stop the car. You see the cops leaving, and they go and they
Yeah.
follow them back to the, you know, to the
So
police
then
station.
uh, they arrive at the police station. The head guy takes uh, uh, the truck driver in to put him back in the cell, and the two goofy cops are out there, and one says, "Go get a stretcher." So while he goes gets a stretcher, Ogilvy and Van Helsing had pulled up and they're watching him. So Ogilvy runs up while the guy's busy and gives him the movie karate chop,
The
which
stun
always
karate chop.
works. Yeah, which always worked. The side of the hand on like the back
Yeah,
of the shoulder.
always a knockout. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get in the car and they drive off. And as they're driving off in the police van with
The
the witch,
police chase them with the yellow
yeah, the
car.
police say, "Hey, what's going on?" So they get in the Van Helsing's yellow car.
And then they start up like they're trying to start up the car by cranking it, and it's like they
Yeah,
start fast forwarding it to make it like Keystone Cops or
they start
whatever,
doing, yeah, or the Benny Hill thing, like like
Yeah,
you said,
yeah,
if they played Yakety Yak or
yeah,
Yakety
yeah,
Sax or whatever the hell that song is,
yeah,
you know. So they're driving around, and then this goofy chase going around back and forth. It would be sped up, and then again, there's the guy in the Vespa. Every time
yeah.
they're on the road, this guy
Yeah,
in
that's
the
like the running joke. That's not funny.
yeah, and a lot of times he's passing them, even though they're going as fast as they can,
Or
or he's
or he's causing the
around
cars
them.
to swerve or something like that. The
Right?
running joke that's not funny, Michael Reeves.
So as they're driving in the car, the police van, Von Helsing goes, "Oh crap! I left the exorcism stuff in the car." So they pull off and pull onto a hill, and they're waiting for the cops. And they realize they're going to have to shoot the cops in order to
Yeah,
get,
he tells Ogilvy, get underneath the car, and when they get
yeah,
really close, shoot them.
because they found a gun in the cop car. So as as the police stop and they're slowly walking up the hill because they suspect a trap, Ogilvy's there, he's getting ready to shoot, and he just can't. So he's like, I can't. So as the cops get to the van, the witch suddenly wakes up. She jumps out and attacks them, and they're fighting. The cops are fighting with the witch. And then Eden Ogilvy jumps in and he's fighting with the cops and trying to subdue the witch. And then Van Helsing jumps in and he's injecting the witch and the cops with sedative. So everybody's knocked out. So then they put the witch back in the van. They got the exercise stuff from the car and they drove the van to the lake. And
On the
then,
same day that she was killed
yeah,
200 years earlier.
it's like to the minute.
To the
It's
minute, yeah.
anniversary, or 2 minutes or whatever. It's the anniversary of when she was killed, so they have to do the exorcism exactly at the same time so that they can get Veronica back. But so they drag the body to the giant seesaw. I don't know what the hell it is. It's like a dunking chair, uh, catapult thing, whatever. So they're dunking her in the water, and what's it? Von Helsing says, "Oh, maybe I should use the spike to hammer into her so that to mimic what happened all that time then." And Ogilvy's like, "No, you can't, because it's gonna kill my wife." So anyway, so they're dunking her and they dunk her all the way in the water, and it comes up, the thing's empty, the chair. And then Ogilvy's like, "Oh my god, where is she? Where's my wife?" And they're looking, and Van Helsing sees Veronica floating in the water. So he jumps in, runs her, and rescues her, and she sort of comes to, and she goes, "Oh dear, I'm all wet," So, and he starts laughing after all this travail. She's like,
After
sort of,
all this horror happens, and then the last scene is them in the car, driving around, all happy. Hey, so where are we gonna go now? Oh, let's go
"We're
to
going to
England.
Czechoslovakia."
It's like, where are we going now? I want to go. I want to go to England. Okay,
Yeah,
And I'm like, after all this, it's all like fun and games now.
yeah.
And where are the
So
cops chasing them?
yeah. So Ogilvy says, "Oh, I hated that place. It was disgusting and stuff." And Barbara Steele goes, "Oh, you didn't like it?" He goes, "Oh no, I'm never going back there again." And she says something like, "Well, I'll be back." And then Van Helsing
Yeah, right.
and Ogilvy look at each other like, oh, did we correctly exercise the witch? And then you see the yellow car driving off.
And then you see like a shot of her with like, with her eyebrows arched,
Yeah,
like, giving you the impression that the end. Dun,
yeah,
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I think somebody in charge of this movie said, you know what? This isn't going to be a great horror movie. Let's turn it into a comedy or something. I don't know, because it's neither. It's just something. It's just a weird hybrid
yeah.
of something or other. I don't know.
He either had to go big in one way or another.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think Reeves wrote this, so he's to blame for the script, but I don't know how much. I don't know if it was tinkered with or whatever, but yeah, yeah. Like we said before, not enough Barbara Steele, too much goofiness,
yeah,
nothing really scary, really, except the
yeah.
witch's face
No
is pretty
surprises,
hideous.
and it's a shame because the parts where Barbara Steele is in, it's actually kind of enjoyable. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
15
yeah,
minutes
yeah, yeah,
total, but she has such a presence on the
yeah, yeah,
screen.
yeah,
It really, and then her and Ogilvy kind of seem to work well together and such.
yeah. But she's gone real quick, and then
Yeah, she's gone quick,
you're
and
stuck
they have
with
the
goofy
witch.
guys.
Yeah, the goofiness and the ugly witch, and the witch is basically a big guy dressed in
Yeah, 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 yeah. With a mask, the
like a
crappy
weird,
mask, and
crappy mask and a weird dress kind of.
yeah, and he's not, and it's not like I think on the first draft of this show we talked about. It's not like they're in a castle or someplace gloomy and
No,
creepy and scary. It's all daylight. There's not any darkness in this movie. Pretty much
no,
every one scene, maybe the witch just pops out and like attacks people, but it's kind of like anticlimactic in a way.
yeah,
It's
there's
like
no mood or atmosphere. Uh, there's no dread. It's just it's like having a crazed. It could have been, instead of a witch, it could have been a crazed killer escaping from an asylum. Or
something,
yeah, I mean,
something.
it didn't really have any. Even though it had a witch who possessed somebody and came back 200 years later, it didn't feel supernatural or anything. It just,
I,
you
and,
have,
and I'm sure Barbara Steele was like, "Oh, so I'm doing another movie about a witch that comes back 200 years," and because she's done a few of them before that. And like, well, we both read that she only did a day's work for $1,000,
yeah,
and the movie cost to make what 40,000, or it was real for time or whatever. Yeah, it
yeah.
was like 40 or 50,000 to make this movie, and it looks it.
No,
There's
it says,
no.
well, 17,000 pounds. Oh, I don't know
Oh,
what that.
17,000. Okay, so Barbara Steele got 1/17 of the movie's budget. Wow.
Yeah,
It's shot in like a little crappy town. There's no real sets, pretty much,
no,
and I'm sure all the locations were real locations.
yeah, and a lot of the people on the crew played bit parts in the movie. I mean, basically, you had Roper, the truck driver, Barbara Steele, the witch, and the three
Bumbling cops, the
cops,
truck
and the
driver.
uh, that's like 6 or 7
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I think a couple of Mel Wells's kid were in the movie. Probably the kid
Yeah,
who was watching the cockfight and the kid at the
yeah,
beginning. Those are probably Mel Wells's kid because they're named and there's a guy in the Vespa. That's it, as far
yeah,
as I
but
can
you
tell,
don't
and a
say.
dead body here and there or whatever. Generic
Yeah,
dead body or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of like a waste. I mean, if you're a Barbara Steele fan, go ahead and watch it. I mean, just to complete your
Right.
Steele fanaticism or
Yeah.
whatever. But don't expect much from this because it's just silly.
Yeah. Like you said, if you're a completist, watch it. If not, you can
You're probably
skip.
not going to watch it again, so get it over with, and enjoy enjoy what little Barbara Steele you can see in the movie. Yeah, because it's really now that I mean I watched the movie yesterday. Now that I scanned through it again, it's even stupider than I remembered. It was like what? I don't
Yeah.
mind the comedy jokes, but it gets a little Hogan's Hero-ish after a while,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I'm
Because
surprised.
even like the picture of the commandant, I'm sure that was from Hogan's Heroes, which was going on at the same time,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I tried to look through articles online to see what if anybody came point of the movie, but I couldn't find anything. So unless there was somebody came up with an interview with Michael Reeves where he talked about what his point was in the movie, I couldn't find it, so I don't know what to tell you. The print on
Yeah.
YouTube is pretty nice. Revenge
Yeah.
of the Blood Beast. It looks pretty good, so you can
There
check
are
it
a
out
couple of
there.
prints out there. Some are done in the TV format, so they obviously came from
4-3, yeah, 4-3
the horror
mine.
movie packages, and
Yeah,
that quality is a lot worse than this
yeah.
one we watched. But yeah, it was all right. I mean,
I'm not watching it again.
no, because there's nothing, no redeem other than Barbara Steele. There's no redeeming
I'll say it
value.
again. They should have ponied up another grand and had her in there for another 15 minutes, and it would have been a more
They,
watchable movie.
like I said, they could have cut scenes where, yeah, you see her throughout the movie, and she's interacting with Ian Ogilvy, and see
Something.
Barbara Steele. Then you could have had another actress entirely who's pretty, played the witch, and then when everybody else saw her, they saw the witch. So you could have it like, she's appearing as his wife, Barbara Steele, when she's with him, but when she's with other people, she's appearing as herself. They could have had her all throughout the movie.
I would have even taken boring scenes with her, like more of the beginning where they're going there, and because it was like she's about the only thing, like you said, she was the most watchable thing in the movie. Ian Ogilvy's fine, but he is what he is. But she has a presence that most
Yeah,
of the actors don't. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So you're kind of
yeah,
wasting. I mean, if I was him, I would have even used like scenes that were cut out just to make her appearance longer in the movie. Because
yeah,
basically she is the star of the movie, and people are going to watch this movie for Barbara Steele, not because it's a great story, or not for
right.
Ian Ogilvy, or not for Michael Reeves.
Or even if another thing they could have done was she see her throughout the movie, but then at certain times when she sees someone she has to kill, she turns into the ugly monster
Yeah,
witch.
something.
Something to keep her all from.
Something. She could have been possessed by the witch and turns into the witch at
Yeah,
times and
exactly.
kills people, and then comes back and becomes normal again. Something like. And then when they find out that she is the witch, and they exercise her, and she turns back to the witch in real life or whatever, as opposed to the dunking scene. But
Yeah,
again, we're not writing this thing, and we're
no,
not. It's what's done is done. However, there could be a remake one day, and if that's the case, it's not going to happen. But you can try something different. You
yeah.
know, because besides Steel, it's all guys. Oh no, there's a girl that gets raped by. And that was unfortunate. That was unnecessary.
Yeah,
I think.
I think it was meant to show the depravity of the communists.
Yeah. And and
But
and in
yeah,
the
I
and, and
mean,
in the version that I watched, they showed a little bit of nudity. They showed her
yeah,
boobs a little bit.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not in the TV print, obviously.
yeah, and it's totally unnecessary.
It's
Take it out of
unnecessary,
the movie. And
and
if
it
it's
went
gonna,
on for a little too long.
yeah, if it's gonna be a comedy, it's like, yeah, and that
Yeah.
whole like, what, the what?
Yeah, right. It's a comedy. All of a sudden, there's like some like prolonged rape scene. I'm like, it's like, what? Does anybody know what's going on here or whatever? Yeah. Anyway, it could have been something else, but it's done, and that's the movie. And watch it if you care,
Right?
and if you don't, we'll do another movie next week that we may like a little bit better.
Yeah,
I don't know.
hopefully.
so so anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I'm gonna give this movie like some kind of rating 1 to 5, I'll give it like a 2.5.
I'd give it a 1, and that's only
There you
because
go.
Barbara Steele. And I mean,
Yeah, there
everything
you go.
else. Seriously, if we could have watched the beginning part and then the end part, that would have been a better movie. A short, but a better movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's funny, because in the back, like she's in the back of the car, and when she said, "I'll be back," the way she
She looked
looked,
cool.
yeah, creepy looking, and she didn't do anything really
She just has
overt.
that
Just
presence
had
that
that,
can
where she could look sexy or
and scary.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That was her thing. She could look sexy and or evil. So
yeah.
depending on the lighting and the makeup and the hairstyle and all that fun stuff. But anyway, that's the she beast. I think I have a DVD of it called El Lago de Satana, the Lake of
Yeah,
Satan.
the
So
Lake of Satan. It's
it goes
yeah,
under a ton of names.
the Revenge of the Blood Beast,
The one
and
I watched.
depending on if it was on TV or if it was in the drive-in theaters or dollar
Or in
movies
Europe and
or
America,
Europe. Yeah, God
Italy,
knows,
wherever.
God knows what the European things look like because they probably had more nudity or crap in it. Or
Probably.
yeah.
All right, all right. Well, that's it for this week. So, Roddy, what should we do in the meantime before doing
In the
shows?
meantime, watch more B movies, except this one.
And I hope we recorded this show. I'm keeping my fingers crossed right
Well,
now.
according to the little window, it says 47 and 56, 7.
All right, I'm gonna stop it
So,
now and fingers
fingers crossed.
crossed.